Trump has declared a mandate to Iraq: stop using my dollar. The only way you can use my dollar is to buy medical stuff, medicine, equipment. If you want to travel abroad, you can get some of my dollar or GOI in your functions as a government. That's it. Nowhere else can you use the American dollar in your country. Citizens can't touch it. Businesses can't touch it. Iraqi stock exchange can't touch it. Nobody is to touch the dollar. My opinion, I prefer the float. Why? Because if you float you can come out with more than 1-to-1. If you go in the basket you got no choice, the dollar 1-to-1. Do you see the $3 plus currencies in any basket? No. That's what you need to go. Wealth/redemption folks did not work over the weekend. They were hoping to get called in, but remember, they were told to expect to work the next few weekends for a while. US banks want to invest in Iraq, central bank will provide support. Quote, today, Sunday, the governor of the Central Bank of Iraq, Ali al-Alak, discussed with the vice president of the American Chamber of Commerce, Steve Lutz, the banking and economic relations between the two countries, in addition to the desire of American companies and banks to invest in Iraq, while al-Alak confirmed that the central bank will provide the necessary support to those companies and banks. The Vietnam dong's low value is not necessarily a disadvantage for Vietnam, it has been a key factor in its economic strategy. While significant appreciation of the dong is unlikely in the short term, Vietnam's growing economy and strategic role in global trade suggests that its currency could slowly gain value over time. However, for now, the government seems to prioritize economic stability and export competitiveness over increasing the dong's value. Coordination framework: no enmity with Trump and America, but we are friends. Quote, the coordination framework, which brings together the Shiite political forces forming the government of Mohammed Shia al-Sudani, confirmed on Monday that it is not afraid of the new US President, Donald Trump. The framework's representative, Ali Nima, told Shafak news agency, the framework has no fears of Trump, and promoting fears about imposing any sanctions on Iraq is unrealistic and far from reality. Baghdad and Washington have good relations. We are seeking and working to strengthen this relationship during the next phase. Trump's new team also includes the most ardent opponents of the Iranian axis, and is deeply resentful of the previous administration of Joe Biden and the administration of Barack Obama, considering that these two administrations handed Iraq over to Iran, after the withdrawal and after a series of negotiations. I think things are moving along nicely. Rumors over the weekend, with a couple of my biggest bond contacts, are saying they now expect theirs somewhere around February 10th. Some of these bigger ones could be post-RV though. There are different pots of money paying different things. There are also rumors it could happen tonight. Remember, they cloud things, so we do not know the timing. We know they are moving at a much quicker pace, and I was told the US is pressuring Iraq to complete it. This is a first. America really needs this. Financially we are in a heck of a mess. We know the economic reforms are underway, and we all know there's certain things still missing. I think Alak has that push button. I think that's about where we are, because you haven't seen that 12(2)(c) amendment yet. There's a reason for that, because they can't, because they're going to have to expose that at or around the same time Alak does what he needs to do. The good part is it looks like it's coming to the forefront. Al-Sudani calls on American companies to participate in the development renaissance in Iraq. Quote, implementation of 18 agreements and MOUs signed during Al-Sudani's list to the US in 2024. Iraqi delegation met with US official under Trump back in 2020, and they also met mid-last year in 2024. They're telling you right here they have 18 agreements and MOUs signed and in place ready to implement. That's why they will be meeting just a little later this year, March to April, to discuss the implementation of these items, not to draft them. These meetings don't have anything to do with the rate changing or us waiting for it in March to April. This is buckling down, getting to business after the rate has already changed. Television news reporting there is a liquidity issue, that more than 70% of Iraqi citizens are still hoarding their 30 notes and many are not bringing them to the bank. Question: Governor of the Central Bank of Iraq meets an official delegation from the United States. Quote, during the meeting, they discussed banking and economic relations between the two countries and the upcoming visit of the Central Bank of Iraq delegation to Washington and their meeting with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and American companies next April. The new lower notes MO will only work with a new exchange rate and not the 1,310. The dinars are the highest form of intel and highest form of security that there is on this planet Earth right now. Lower notes, is the most highly guarded object and secret at this moment. The CBI and Sudani cannot afford one small slip-up, one tiny little leak, even the color. You don't want any information to be leaded out, even the shape of the new lower notes. All this must be kept tightly under wraps until the new exchange rate is finally released. The Parliamentary Oil and Resources Committee revealed, today, Monday, the reasons for the failure of the legislation of the oil and gas law within the House of Representatives. Committee member Kazem Al-Tawki said in a statement to Al-Maluma agency, the delay in enacting the oil and gas law is due to the shift of points from technical to political. He added, the region raised the ceiling of demands, which led to the failure of the legislation of the law. He pointed out the regional government's failure to adhere to the budget items, as well as the decisions of the Federal Court and the Court of Paris. He pointed out that the region's insistence on political matters within the oil and gas law led to the stumbling of its legislation within the House of Representatives, despite the political agreement under which al-Sudani's government was formed. On Monday, the Prime Minister of the Federal Council, Mohammed Shia al-Sudani, sponsored the signing ceremony of a Memorandum of Understanding between the Iraqi Securities Commission and the Abu Dhabi Securities Market. His media office said in a statement received by Shafaq news agency that al-Sudani received, today the CEO of the Abu Dhabi Securities Market, Abdullah Salem al-Nuaimi, and discussed ways of joint cooperation in the field of exchanging expertise and developing mechanisms to expand the activities of the private sector to achieve economic growth. The statement added that al-Sudani sponsored the signing ceremony of a Memorandum of Understanding between the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Abu Dhabi Securities Market, where Faisal Wissam al-Hamas, chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission, signed on the Iraqi side, and Abdullah al-Naimi signed on the Emirati side. The MO includes axes of cooperation in several areas, the most important of which are enhancing and developing the monitoring of daily trading in the market, and brokerage firms, cooperation in the field of dual listing conditions and mechanisms, and in developing and using technological applications and mechanisms for subscriptions and initial listings, as well as in the field of cases of suspending trading on shares and timings for retrading, and the requirements for license